The Girl Who Danced in the Rain. The Cursed Dance. In the heart of a small West African village named Oguma, stories were more than tales, they were warnings stitched into the lives of children. One such story, passed from lips wrinkled by time, spoke of a girl who danced in the rain and never came back. Amma was 17, full of questions and too curious for her mother's liking. While others feared the forest that bordered Oguma, she found it beautiful, mystical, even. Her mother, Mama Efe, warned her often, "Rain no be for play, Amma. If you see the first drop, you run inside, no look back. You hear?" But Amma laughed. "Mama, I no go vanish because of small rain. Is just water." Her friends whispered about the old tales, that in the forest, there lived an ancient spirit called a Jur, who took girls that danced freely during the first storm of the planting season. They said he was once a man, a prince who loved a dancer, but when she married another, his heartbreak turned him into a jealous spirit. Since then, he stole any girl who reminded him of his lost love. Amma didn't believe in ghosts. One April afternoon, dark clouds brewed in the sky like a pot of bitter leaf soup. The elders rushed indoors. Chickens fluttered to shelter. The air smelt of wet earth and secrets. Amma stood at the edge of the field, barefoot, her wrapper flapping in the wind. She felt it before she saw it, the first drop. Cool, soft, like a kiss. Then the rain came heavy. Instead of running, Amma laughed. She spun on her heel, arms wide, dancing barefoot in the muddy field. Her body swayed like a tree in the wind, her heart pounding with freedom. Her laughter echoed through the trees. That was the last time the village saw her. The spirit's truth. For days, Oguma mourned. Drums beat in sorrow, and women wailed into their wrappers. Mama Efe could not eat, sleep, or speak. She simply sat, staring at the place where her daughter danced away. Then came the whispering. Some said they heard music in the forest at night, a flute playing a sorrowful tune, and footsteps following its rhythm. Some said they saw a figure in white, twirling in the trees. Others claimed a Jur had returned, angry, and the village would suffer more if a sacrifice wasn't made. But Mama Efe was not afraid. She had lost her only child. Nothing could scare her now. She went into the forest alone. The trees seemed to bend toward her, whispering her name. Thunder cracked above, and rain began to fall, slow and rhythmic. But Efe walked on, deeper into the woods, her wrapper soaked, her feet muddy. In a clearing, she saw her. Amma stood under a twisted tree, her eyes glassy, her movements slow, as if pulled by invisible strings. She danced, but it was no longer with joy, it was as if the rain had chained her spirit. A shadow moved behind her. A Jur. He was not monstrous. He looked like a man, tall, sorrowful, with eyes that carried centuries of pain. "You took my daughter," Mama Efe said, her voice strong. "For what?" She danced freely, a Jur said, "like she loved the world. Like my own lost love once danced. You are cursed, not because she married another," Efe said, "but because you let your pain grow into darkness." A Jur's face twisted with grief. "I did not know how to let go." Mama Efe stepped forward. "Then learn now. Let her go. Let all of them go." The trees trembled. The rain stopped. Amma blinked, and for the first time in days, she breathed. Truly breathed. The spirit faded, like mist in sunlight. Amma ran into her mother's arms. When they returned to Oguma, the rain had stopped, but the story had changed. Now, it was no longer just a warning. Spirit. The village, and what deeper mysteries still linger in the forest. The rain knows names. Amma's return was not met with songs and dancing. Instead, the village of Oguma watched her like she carried a shadow. She came back, old women whispered. But did she bring something with her? Children stared with wide eyes, fingers clutching their mother's hands. Even the chief, Ha-Ojuma, called a council meeting to ask, is this the girl, or a spirit walking in her skin? Amma felt it, the distance, the silence. She no longer laughed at the rain. At night, she dreamed of the forest. Of girls dancing in circles, eyes hollow, mouths open in silent songs. She saw a jur, not angry, but sitting alone beneath the twisted tree, whispering names into the rain. Names of girls taken. She told Mama Efe, he is still there. Watching. Mama, now respected for her courage, went again to the elders. The jur is not finished. The curse is not broken. But the elders, afraid of opening old wounds, waved her away. Only one person believed her, Kofi, the apprentice hunter. Kofi had admired Amma since they were children. He remembered her laughter before the rain stole it. And now, he saw her walking with silence in her bones. He followed her one evening as she stood alone in the fields, looking toward the forest. You still hear him? He asked. She nodded. Every night. What is he saying? Amma turned, her voice soft. He's calling more names. The daughters of the rain. That night, the storm returned. Thunder roared like ancient drums, and the wind carried voices no one wanted to hear. Villagers barred their windows. Mothers held their daughters tight. But Amma walked into the rain again. She was not alone. Kofi followed, spear in hand, though he knew it would not help. Mama Efe came too, carrying nothing but a calabash filled with ashes from the family shrine. They reached the twisted tree. There, Ajur waited. But he was not alone either. All around the clearing, spirits danced, girls of many ages, their feet gliding above the earth, eyes shimmering like the stars. They weren't angry. They weren't sad. They were waiting. Ajur stepped forward. She came back, he said. But she brought remembrance with her. Now, they want to go home too. Amma stepped toward the spirits. Then let them rest. Ajur looked at her, and then at Mama Efe. But where will I go? You were once a man, Efe replied. Let your soul find peace as one. Kofi raised his voice, surprising even himself. We'll build you a shrine. Not to fear, but to remember. You took too many, but we will not forget your pain. Ajur looked around at the girls. Slowly, one by one, the spirits began to fade. Light poured from their forms like morning sun spilling through trees. He smiled. I thank you, he said, for bringing rain not of sorrow, but of healing. Then he, too, vanished. In the center of the clearing, only the twisted tree remained, its bark smooth now, its branches open to the sky. The Council of Shadows. The next morning, the village air felt heavier. Even the birds were quieter, their songs replaced by the rustling of tense leaves. Nyasha could feel it in her bones, something had shifted. As she fetched water from the stream, children watched her with wide eyes, whispering behind cupped hands. Their mothers pulled them away. Some gave her wary looks, others just fear. She was no longer invisible. By midday, Chief Whale summoned her again. She entered the shrine with her head high, necklace visible against her chest. He noticed. You found it. Nyasha didn't flinch. You knew it was there. I hoped you would not dig. She crossed her arms. You married me for this, didn't you? Not for alliance. Not for tradition. You married me because of what's in my blood. Whale's eyes met hers. For the first time, they were not hard. They were tired. Yes, he said. But not for power. Nyasha frowned. Then for what? Protection, he replied. From what is coming. He led her into the shrine's inner chamber. It was filled with old scrolls, dried herbs, and clay masks of forgotten gods. In the center stood a tall drum, its leather surface etched with symbols that shimmered faintly. Whale lit a stick of dried sage. There is a prophecy, hidden from most. It speaks of a fire child born of Zubedi's line. A girl who would rise when the earth thirsts for justice. Nyasha's heart skipped. You think that's me? I don't think, he said. I know. Suddenly, a loud horn blew from outside. Whale stiffened. The council is meeting. They've summoned me, and they know you've found the relic. Fear tightened Nyasha's throat. Will they try to harm me? They will try to silence what they fear. But not while I breathe. As he turned to leave, he paused at the doorway. You must come, Nyasha. Not as my bride, but as the last voice of the seers. Against every instinct, she nodded. That afternoon, the council gathered beneath the sacred Iroko tree, its branches twisting like reaching arms. Elders in red robes sat in a circle. The villagers stood behind, a sea of eyes. Nyasha entered, shoulders square. The murmurs began again. She wears Zubedi's beads. She is not afraid. She should be. An elder rose. Whale, you break sacred order. You bring a girl touched by fire into a place meant for men. She is more than a girl, Whale said calmly. She is the vessel of truth. Nyasha stepped forward and unrolled the ancient scroll. The wind blew gently. She began to read. Greater than, the fire does not come to burn, but to reveal. What was buried in lies shall rise in truth. When the child of ash walks the path, the spirits will follow, and the chains of silence shall fall. Gasps echoed. One elder stood up, shaking. That scroll was lost, how did she? Whale answered, she didn't find it. It found her. In the stunned silence, Nyasha felt something stir in her chest. A heat, not of fear, but of purpose. She was no longer the weeping girl forced into a marriage. She was the voice of the forgotten. And they would hear her roar. The fire dances. The crowd stood in stunned silence. No one moved, not even the wind. Nyasha felt the air ripple around her, as if the scroll had disturbed something older than time. Then, slowly, the oldest elder, Olanji the blind, rose to his feet. His eyes were pale, but his voice was firm. I heard that scroll read once, when I was a child. It was the voice of her grandmother. Zubedi. She spoke before the council, too. Gasps ran through the crowd. She was silenced. Someone shouted. Yes, Olanji said. Because we were afraid of the change she brought. Chief Whale stepped forward. But this time, we will not bury truth. We will listen. Not everyone agreed. One of the younger elders slammed his staff to the ground. And let a girl lead us into ruin. What next? Will goats rule the warriors too? Murmurs of agreement rumbled. But before anyone else could speak, a sudden whirlwind swept through the gathering. Dust rose. Leaves spiraled in the air. The flames on the council's ceremonial torches flickered wildly, then turned blue. The people panicked. Women screamed. Men stumbled back. And Nyasha stood still. The fire recognized her. She raised a hand slowly, not knowing why. The flames bent slightly in her direction, as if bowing. Olanji gasped. She has the mark. What mark? Nyasha asked, breathless. The old man turned his blind eyes toward her. Only the fire-blooded seers can call the spirits of the flame. It was said they would return when the world was near another breaking. Suddenly, Nyasha's vision blurred. The world faded again. She fell to her knees as another vision took her. The village was in flames. The same tree, the same people, but they were screaming. And in the middle of the chaos stood a masked figure in red. Not Whale. Not an elder. Someone else. Someone powerful. Then the voice returned, Zubedi's voice. Greater than, the fire does not burn the innocent. But it devours lies. The masked one comes. Choose your allies wisely, child of ash. Nyasha gasped and awoke with a scream. Whale rushed to her side. What did you see? She looked at him with wide eyes. The village. Burning. A man in red, masked. He brings destruction. A silence fell over the crowd once more. Even the doubting elders said nothing now. Only the wind whispered. Chief Whale rose, voice low but steady. Then we must prepare. The spirits have spoken. Nyasha, still shaking, looked to the horizon. Darkness gathered there, and the fire was just beginning. The mask of the red stranger. The village did not sleep that night. Torches burned longer. Warriors sharpened their spears in silence. Mothers held their children close. The elders whispered prayers they hadn't spoken in years. And Nyasha sat beneath the great Iroko tree, her mind spinning. She had awakened something, within herself and within the land. Missoula sat beside her, quiet for a long time. Then she said softly, you see things now, don't you? Like Zubedi once did. Nyasha nodded. And I fear what's coming. Just then, the warning drums beat, 3 quick strikes, then silence. The signal of a stranger at the gates. Nyasha stood. The villagers gathered behind Whale as he approached the eastern entrance. 2 guards held a tall figure between them, cloaked in red from head to toe, face hidden behind a carved wooden mask. The mask had jagged paint, half fire, half ash. Whale raised his hand. Who are you? The figure bowed slightly. I am called Sefu wa Mvua, the Sword of Rain. I bring a message. His voice was deep, smooth as oil. What message? Whale asked. The masked man looked directly at Nyasha. That the one who carries Zubedi's fire must come with me, or your village will burn before the next moon rises. The crowd gasped. Whale stepped in front of Nyasha. You dare threaten sacred ground. I don't threaten, Sefu said calmly. I only deliver prophecy. Nyasha stepped forward, her voice steady. What do you want from me? The stranger tilted his head. To help you fulfill your destiny. You do not belong to this place. You belong to the mountain of truth, where your powers will either awaken fully, or consume you. The flames of the torches flared at his words. One of the elders growled, he's a trickster. He speaks poison. But Nyasha looked into the masked man's eyes, cold, sharp, but not entirely cruel. He was dangerous. But he wasn't lying. She spoke clearly. Then I'll go with him. But not alone. Whale grabbed her arm. You can't. Trust him. I don't, she whispered. But I trust the fire. And it tells me this is the path. Whale's eyes softened. Then I go with you. No, Nyasha said. You must protect the village. She turned to Missoula and embraced her. If I don't return before the new moon, bury the necklace beneath the tree again. Then, without another word, she followed the masked stranger into the dark. And as they vanished beyond the trees, the flames of the village torches flickered one last time. The fire child was walking into her storm.